After many years of silence, Gene Hackman's 3 children have finally decided to speak up, revealing the story of the woman who stood by their father's side in his final moments. This is an untold story, filled with memories that seemed long forgotten, with final words that still echo. What kept them silent for so long? What secrets were truly hidden? The truth about this mysterious woman may completely change the way we perceive Gene Hackman and his life. The words shared by the Hackman family are sure to leave many people astonished. Gene Hackman's 3 children, along with his former wife, step out of the shadows. Gene Hackman, a legendary actor known for his unforgettable performances in films such as The French Connection, Unforgiven, and The Royal Tenenbaums, left an indelible mark on millions of fans over the decades. However, behind the dazzling lights of Hollywood, he led a deeply private life, always striving to keep his family away from the noise of public scrutiny. After Gene Hackman and his beloved wife Betsy Arakawa passed away, his 3 children with old wife Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie stood before the public for the first time, sharing the immense grief they were experiencing. For them, this appearance was not just a tribute to their parents, but also a way to preserve and share memories of their dearest loved ones, who had always been their pillars of strength. Leslie Ann Hackman, the youngest daughter born in 1966, chose a quiet life away from the public eye, in stark contrast to her father, who had appeared on screens millions of times. But this time, she could no longer evade the spotlight. When she appeared in Los Angeles, there was a clear sense of strength in her eyes, but also immense pain. Her voice was low and sorrowful as she spoke to the media. "We need more time to receive the official information from the police. We never imagined that one day we would have to return to the house and witness everything like this. There's so much to take care of, but yes, we will certainly be going to New Mexico." Her words were not just a simple statement. They marked the beginning of an emotional journey to accept the heartbreaking truth that her parents were gone. For a child, nothing is more painful than facing a home filled with memories of their parents, now reduced to an endless, empty void. Elizabeth Hackman, the second daughter born in 1962, also chose a simple and peaceful life, staying away from Hollywood's spotlight. But in this crucial moment, Elizabeth knew she could no longer remain silent. Along with her younger sister Leslie and niece Annie, Elizabeth shared an emotional statement with the public. "With deep sorrow, we announce the passing of our father, Gene Hackman, and his dearly beloved wife, Betsy. The world may admire him for his extraordinary acting talent, but to us, he was always just dad and grandpa to our family. We will always remember him with boundless love and respect, and our hearts will forever carry the weight of this loss." Christopher Hackman, born in 1960, is the eldest and only son of Gene Hackman with his first wife, Faye Maltz. Unlike his father, Christopher chose a simple life, staying far from the spotlight and blockbuster films. He never craved fame and rarely appeared in public. However, there was always a special emotional bond between him and his father, silent but profound. In a 1984 interview, Gene shared a heartfelt remark about his son. "To this day, we still hug each other whenever we meet. I always thank God that we can do that." With just that one sentence, people could clearly feel the love and deep connection between father and son, even though they never flaunted it to the outside world. What about the relationship between Hackman's 3 children and their stepmother? Betsy Arakawa may not be a familiar name in the entertainment industry, but to Gene Hackman, she was an incredibly important life partner. A talented classical pianist, Betsy stood by his side for over 3 decades, witnessing his transition from a legendary acting career to a peaceful life devoted to family. Speaking about her stepmother, Leslie emotionally shared, "My father and Betsy had a truly beautiful marriage. I will always be grateful to her for taking care of him with such devotion, always looking after and protecting his health. Because of that, I sincerely thank her, and am deeply heartbroken by this loss." Betsy was not only a life companion but also an immense source of emotional support for Gene Hackman in his final years. Without them, the Hackman family's world now feels emptier than ever. Yet, the beautiful memories of Gene and Betsy will always live on, cherished in the hearts of their loved ones. When people think of Gene Hackman, the first image that often comes to mind is that of his iconic, tough, and charismatic roles, characters that cemented his legendary status in the film industry. But beyond the spotlight, behind the brilliance of Hollywood, there was an entirely different Gene. A simple man, a devoted husband, who found true peace in the great love of his life, Betsy Arakawa. Gene met Betsy in 1980, at a time when he was at the peak of his cinematic career. Betsy, a talented classical pianist of Japanese descent, was born and raised in Hawaii. She was 30 years younger than him. The vast difference in their ages and backgrounds could have posed a great challenge to their relationship. Yet, instead of creating distance, these differences became a catalyst, drawing them closer, shaping a love that was nothing short of extraordinary. When Betsy entered Gene's life, he had just gone through the heartbreak of his first marriage's collapse with Faye Maltz, who had been by his side for many years. At that time, Gene's heart seemed to have closed off and he had lost faith in true love. But it was Betsy's gentle, patient, and compassionate nature that brought a breath of fresh air into his life, soothing his wounds and leading him toward something he never thought possible: happiness. In 1991, they officially married and began a new chapter together. Leslie Hackman, his youngest daughter, once spoke emotionally about the love between her father and stepmother. "My father and Betsy had a wonderful marriage. Mom Betsy was always thoughtful, caring, and loved my father unconditionally. She took care of him with all her heart until the very last days. We are forever grateful to her, and her passing is an immense loss for our family." Unlike his first marriage, during which Gene was often away filming, life with Betsy brought him something he had never truly experienced before: peace. After their wedding in 1991, Gene gradually stepped away from acting, choosing to embrace a simple life with the woman he loved. For nearly 4 decades, Betsy was his steadfast support, his life partner, who understood him down to his very breath. That is why, when he left the stage and the silver screen behind, Gene never felt lonely or regretful, because he always had Betsy by his side. On February 26, 2025, heartbreaking news emerged, leaving all who loved Gene Hackman in shock. Inside their familiar home in Santa Fe, legendary actor Gene Hackman, his wife Betsy Arakawa, and one of their 3 beloved dogs were found deceased. Behind the doors of what was once a warm and happy home, a tragic scene unfolded, leaving an immense void in the hearts of those left behind. According to the police, Betsy Arakawa was found in the bathroom, with scattered pills on the floor around her. Meanwhile, Gene Hackman was discovered motionless near the kitchen, his familiar cane and sunglasses still by his side. One of the family's 3 dogs also did not survive, trapped inside a cage nearby. As soon as the incident was discovered, Police Chief Adam Mosa and the investigative team conducted a thorough examination of the scene. They confirmed that there were no signs of forced entry or any struggle. So what led to this heartbreaking outcome? Dr. Heather Gerald from the medical examiner's office delivered an official conclusion that stunned everyone. Betsy had passed away due to acute pulmonary syndrome caused by the hantavirus, a rare and deadly disease transmitted through exposure to rodent waste. Her death was shockingly sudden, unimaginably painful, and beyond what anyone could have foreseen. No one could believe that a strong, vibrant woman like Betsy could be gone so quickly. According to the police, she had passed away on February 11, nearly 2 weeks before being discovered. After losing the love of his life, Gene Hackman seemed to lose all connection with the outside world. In his old age, he was no longer fully aware of his surroundings due to advanced Alzheimer's disease, which, combined with his frail health, had gradually robbed him of his memories. When Betsy passed on February 11th, he was still there, but his mind was no longer clear. In the days that followed, medical devices recorded the final, weakening heartbeats of the legendary actor. By February 18th, Gene's heart stopped forever. Perhaps, after losing his beloved wife, he was unable to care for himself and passed away in solitude and silence, following Betsy into the unknown. He left behind a monumental legacy, but also an unfillable void in the hearts of those who loved him. Today, though Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa are no longer here, their love story continues to be told as a testament to deep, harmonious, and genuine affection. Theirs was a love that never needed to be loud, never sought applause or the glamour of the spotlight, but it was profound and enduring enough to leave an everlasting imprint in the hearts of their family, friends, and those who admired them. As news of Gene Hackman's passing spread, people across the world, especially film lovers, were left in shock and sorrow. But for his family, this was not just the loss of a cinematic legend, it was the unbearable pain of losing a father, a grandfather, and a beloved husband. Through tears, Elizabeth Hackman shared her grief. To the world, he was a legend. But to us, he was simply dad, grandpa, and an incredible husband. The pain of losing Betsy hadn't even begun to fade, and now we are hit with the unbearable shock of losing our father. At this moment, life feels like a nightmare we can't wake up from. For years, Gene and Betsy chose a simple life at Santa Fe, far from the noise of Hollywood. Together, they embraced the small joys of everyday life, happiness and tranquility that no amount of fame could provide. But now, they were both gone, leaving behind an immeasurable void for those who loved them. In the minds of the Hackman family, there had always been an unspoken expectation. They believed that, given Gene's much older age, he would be the first to pass. Tim Hackman, Gene's grandson, recalled that the family had entrusted all of Gene's final arrangements to Betsy, as she had always been the one to care for him and manage every aspect of his later years. Tim expressed his sorrow. "We always thought Grandpa Gene would go first, and Betsy would take care of everything that came after. None of us ever imagined that she would be the one to leave first. We were completely unprepared for this." The back-to-back losses of Gene and Betsy left an unbearable grief in the hearts of their children, Leslie, Elizabeth, and Christopher. They never imagined that time would run out so quickly. Christopher, Gene's eldest son, spoke with deep regret. "We always thought we had more time. We believed there would be plenty of opportunities to create more beautiful memories with them. But then, everything ended so suddenly. No one had the chance to say everything they wanted to say. No one was ready for this moment." Gene Hackman lived a deeply private life, far from the noise of the media. Perhaps he never imagined that one day, his name would flood newspapers and social media in such a heartbreaking way. For the Hackman family, these past days have been heavy and exhausting. Their silence has not brought peace. On the contrary, it is a silence filled with weight and pressure. While they struggle to cope with the immense grief of their loss, they also have to battle public scrutiny, rumors, and baseless speculation spreading across the press. The more they remained silent, the more public curiosity grew. Journalists chased after every small detail, sensational headlines appeared daily, and even fabricated stories from anonymous sources began to surface. Every morning, the Hackman family woke up feeling drained by the wave of misinformation, even outright falsehoods about their private lives and personal plans. One article falsely claimed details about the family's funeral arrangements, which left Elizabeth Hackman heartbroken and outraged. She confided in a close friend, "They write about us as if they know everything, but in reality, they have no idea what we are going through." Leslie, who was more familiar with the entertainment industry, still could not escape the exhaustion of having her family's pain turned into public discussion. Through tears, she admitted, "We are grieving, but to them, even our suffering has become something to talk about." The truth is, unless you have experienced it firsthand, it is difficult to understand that losing a loved one is not just a moment of sadness. It is also an invisible burden, especially when you belong to a famous family like the Hackmans. Christopher, Gene's eldest son, who had always been seen as the family's pillar of strength, now found himself feeling powerless under the weight of external pressure. A close friend revealed, "Chris has always been the strong one, always wanting to manage and take care of everything. But this time, things are beyond his control, and it's suffocating him." For Elizabeth, who had spent years keeping her life away from public attention, the constant media coverage was deeply painful and frustrating. Having deliberately chosen a private existence, she now felt violated as misleading stories about her parents circulated widely. In her quiet grief, she became determined to protect her father's image from anything that could tarnish the cherished memories she held so dearly. Even Leslie, who had always been open about sharing the values her parents instilled in her, now found herself hesitant. In a rare moment of vulnerability, she admitted, "I know Dad always wanted us to be strong, But sometimes, all of this just makes me want to run away, to disappear from all the attention and noise. Yet, amid the storm of public speculation, the Hackman family also received an outpouring of genuine warmth and love from fans around the world. On social media, thousands of people sent their heartfelt condolences. Old film clips showcasing Gene Hackman's legendary performances, as well as touching interviews from his past, were widely shared as a tribute to his legacy. One fan wrote, "Gene Hackman was not just a great actor, he was an inspiration to millions of people around the world. We miss him and deeply cherish the values he left behind." Gene Hackman was never the type of father to express love through words, but he was always present in his children's lives in the most genuine way. Now that he is no longer by their side, his children are learning to love just as he did. They spend more time together, not only to share their grief, but also to truly embrace the sacred meaning of family. They rewatch the films their father once starred in, not to dwell in sorrow or nostalgia, but to feel pride in having had such a remarkable father. They reminisce about their childhood, laughing together at the moments when he was strict yet full of love, and they hold tightly to the priceless memories he left behind. Christopher, Elizabeth, and Leslie understand that there will be days when the pain of missing their parents feels unbearable. But more than anything, they know one truth: their father would never have wanted them to remain in darkness. He always wanted them to be strong, to keep moving forward, and to find meaning in each new day. With time, the pain will soften, but the memory of Gene Hackman will never fade. The Hackman family continues to move forward because they know that every new day is worth living, just as Gene Hackman and Betsy Arakawa once cherished and embraced life. And so, no matter how long the night may seem, the dawn will always come. May all those who are experiencing grief and loss find the faith and strength to carry on. Gene Hackman and the story of the woman who stood by his side may have come to an end, but their echoes have never disappeared. They live on in the hearts of their loved ones, and the beautiful legacy they left behind will continue to resonate forever. Thank you for watching the video. What do you think about the love story of Gene Hackman and his wife? Don't forget to like, share, and share the video to support us. See you again.